Groms suck. Speed Why didn't you get a Grom for practice? Why I actually spend my hard-earned money? I opt not to get the Grom. I know I'm gonna dump this bike. I know it's gonna go down several times, and basically minimize the amount of money I would have to spend. You should have brought a Grom. Well, I got news for you. Groms suck. Speed run. Ah, man, I'm just joshing. Groms do not suck. Groms do not suck. Ever since I started uploading these videos with the new bike, with the KLX 140 RL, I've been getting a lot of people asking, why didn't you get a Grom for practicing wheelies? Why didn't you pick this bike instead? It would have been great. It's easier. So I kind of figured we might as well talk about it while we were heading towards the wheelie spot to practice, and tell you guys why I actually spend my hard-earned money on this bike instead of a Grom to practice wheelies. So I feel like Groms, which I've ridden before, Honda Monkey and stuff like that, those bikes are great. They're a little bit heavier also for you to get up, and if you're not someone that's super confident on practicing wheelies, those could definitely hinder your your level of excitement if you struggle in the beginning. And I wanted to kind of do as much as I can as early as I can and get inspired and continue working as quickly as I can. And also, one of the biggest thing about the Grom, which I will cover shortly, guys. By the way, I do have a Patreon. Make sure you hit the link in the description, or it pops up on the screen left or right. Join the Best Man tier for your chance to win up to $1,000 worth of moto prizes, which we give away every quarter. It's one way for you to support the channel. Would highly appreciate it if you do. And it's a great way to give back to everyone. With the Grom, one of the biggest reasons why I opt not to get the Grom to learn how to wheelie smoothly, I wanted to cut down the costs of the long term of me doing this whole wheelie thing. So I preemptively thought to myself, I know I'm gonna dump this bike. I know it's gonna go down several times, and basically minimize the amount of money I would have to spend out of pocket to kind of get it back on the road, or getting a cage, and basically really focusing on just practicing how to do wheelie early on and becoming very proficient and working the rear brake, right? So when you look at a Grom in comparison to the Kawasaki KLX 140 RL, I've dumped this bike several times, and I've picked it right back up and rode it and just continue enjoying the ride. Right on something like a Honda Grom, which they fall in the same category, about like $5,000. The Grom has a headlight, okay? The Grom has a bigger exhaust. You could insure it. That's the one positive, because you could claim it and get your money back. But the fairings are going to be way more expensive on a Grom to replace. Headlight, you have to replace. Turn signals, tail tidy, rear turn signals. All of those things could be very costly to replace on a Grom long term, in comparison to the KLX Kawasaki 140 RL. Each one of these fairings are very cheap. We're talking about anywhere between anywhere between $20 to $30, $40, up to $50 to replace fairing or a piece of plastic or anything like that. So it is super cheap for you to kind of do this. And also, even pegs and everything else, handlebars, all of those things fall in a specific category between, like, I mean, for example, my Pro Taper handlebar, that was under $100. I don't even remember. I think it might have been cheaper than that, $50. I don't remember how much I've spent on it. And that's just to kind of show you how much it doesn't really impact things, because it's not expensive enough to break the bank or for it to make you feel some type of way after dumping the bike or having a bad day or something like that. So, you know, on a grand scheme of things, I think a Grom is a great bike to practice wheelies on. But on the long-term games, I think it'll be a great second bike. Like, after buying this bike, getting very good at it, and clutching it up consistently, rocking the rear brake consistently, I think the Groms is an easy transition to the next level. right? Because you're less likely to cause really bad damage or anything like that. So that's the biggest thing here. And the pros for me with the KLX 140RL by Cowie is the fact that the bike is light. It is so light. It's a lot easier to come up, and it's more confidence inspiring. And I think with the Grom, with the weight being on it, I think you're more likely to struggle in the beginning because it doesn't have a lot of power. This bike doesn't have a lot of power as well, but it's light enough, and it'll get you to get very confident really quickly. So, and that's why I opted to buy this bike instead of a Honda Grom. There was a lot of bikes I was looking into, but that's why I grabbed that one. Highly recommended.